One accident, 565 eastbound near Wall Triana, reported with injuries. Madison Fire and Rescue canceled Himsey on that one. Everything else looking pretty good this morning. You be careful on that ride in. Put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something goes wrong. The YMCA is different from other gyms with state-of-the-art equipment, world-class pools, programs for every age, and free child care. And you pay no joining fee in Madison and Huntsville. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Really is going to be a beautiful day across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 60s. We're only going to fall into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight. Plenty of sunshine once again for your Thursday. Temperatures hanging out in the mid and upper 60s once again, but I do think some folks are going to be pushing 70 degrees Thursday afternoon, dropping into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Friday. Temperatures hanging out consistently in the upper 60s and lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
The WBC lightweight title up for grabs this Saturday, December 4th. Dustin Haney making his fourth title defense against Joseph Diaz Jr., the current WBC interim lightweight champion. Haney, the minus 600 favorite, Diaz plus 375. Dak Prescott, the heavy favorite to be named NFL Comeback Player of the Year, minus 500. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, a distant second, plus 500. Carson Wentz and James Conner each at plus 1,400. Prescott's Cowboys, a 5-point favorite against the Saints in New Orleans on Thursday Night Football tomorrow. NBA tonight, the Hawks on the road against the Pacers. Atlanta 11-10 and getting 1.5 points. The over-under 217.5.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we are off and running. It is another brand new live edition of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. 43 degrees as you make your way into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Wednesday morning. We have got a ton of stuff to get through this morning. The college football playoff rankings came out last night. Interesting things there. The committee saying some interesting things in terms of Notre Dame. We're going to talk Alabama offense versus that Georgia defense, some contract extensions in the SEC, one that kicked in by another one just signing his deal. Got a lot of other stuff to get through as well. But it's Wednesday. Alabama plays on Saturday in the SEC championship game. Third-ranked Alabama, top-ranked Georgia. And that means it can be only one thing and one thing only. That means right out of the gates, we start this morning with our fourth grader prognosticator, the one, the only, Grady the Greek, joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Morning, Grady.
Morning.
How was your Thanksgiving, sir?
It was good.
Did you get plenty to eat?
Yes, sir.
What was the favorite thing that you enjoyed on your Thanksgiving meal?
The cornbread.
Cornbread. There you go.
Kept it simple.
Yep.
All right. I have a feeling this was a tough one for you this week, Grady. What do you think, Alabama, Georgia?
All I got to say about last week and the Iron Bowl is we won. Roll Tide. I looked at team and stats from teams we both played. That really does not go in our favor. I think it's going to be tough to win, but I'm going to pick Alabama, but I don't feel really confident. Bama 30, Georgia 27, MVP Bryce Young.
Wow, so you're picking 30 points. Are we having back-to-back overtime games, Grady? Is this an overtime game?
No shot.
No shot. All right, so how nervous were you, though, during the Iron Bowl?
car seat.
You weren't watching it, you had to listen to it.
Yeah.
Oh, so you you were a little nervous during the Iron Bowl.
Yes, sir.
You're going to be nervous on Saturday then, I take it, too.
Yes.
All right. So do we have any lucky shirts, any kind of good luck charms that we have to go with on Saturday?
No.
Okay. So Alabama 30, Georgia 27. There you have it. Our fourth grader prognosticator has come through with a 3-point Alabama win. Bryce Young leading the way, Drew. And I tell you, Bryce, I think he's on to something. If Alabama wins this, Bryce Young, this could be the Heisman moment. Seals it.
I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, it's a wide open Heisman race, but to a degree. But Bryce is the favorite, and Georgia has not lost to the best team in the country. Number one college football playoff ranking every week. If they beat Georgia in Atlanta, which would be considered Georgia's backyard, the neutral field still, but I said this and I'll stick with it. Bryce will win in a landslide, especially with the Ohio State Buckeyes doing what the Ohio State Buckeyes do, and that's choke and not play for a championship.
All right, Grady, give us your shout out for the week.
Shout out to my buddy Preston.
All right, Preston. All right. Preston gets the shout out from Grady the Greek. Grady, enjoy your day at school. I know it is just so much fun.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, Grady, we will talk to you later. Grady the Greek joining us.
Sticking with the Tide.
Sticking with it. I give him credit, 30-27. Now, if Georgia or if Alabama scores 30 points, that is probably the most Georgia. Obviously, that's the most Georgia's given up all year.
Yeah, that most they've given up is 17. I mean, they have not even given up in the 20s. And that 17, I believe, was against Tennessee.
Wow, 30-27,
yeah.
Alabama over Georgia. That is our fourth grader prognosticator. And throughout the show this morning, yesterday, we broke down the Alabama offense, and we asked everyone grade Bill O'Brien's performance and what the Alabama offense would have to do against the Georgia defense on Saturday. So let's flip it to the other side. What is the Alabama defense going to have to do Saturday? The last time they faced Georgia, they saw Stetson Bennett, roughed him up pretty good, confused him pretty good last year inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. So Pete Golding, just like Bill O'Brien, is a lightning rod for criticism. How would you grade Pete Golding's defensive coordinator play calls or his outcomes this year versus last year? What grade would you give Pete Golding this year? And how can that Alabama defense slow down Stetson Bennett this year? And has Stetson Bennett taken a step forward in his progression to where Alabama maybe not rattled him as much this year?
Well, I'll just say this. I mean, I think there's no question that Alabama's defense is better than it was last year. I know the fans were frustrated with the Florida and the Texas A&M games, but statistically you can see it. Alabama was ranked 32nd in total defense last year. This year they're ranked 7th. Last year they had an unbelievable offense and one of the best in the history of the sport. I think it was as good as the 2019, if not better than LSU the year before. This year they have a really good offense as well, but it hasn't been as consistent, and so they've needed more out of the defense. They certainly have gotten it. They didn't play a very good last three quarters against Florida, and they struggled for the first half against Texas A&M. But really, until that final drive against A&M, Scott, they held them to 13 yards.
Right.
So I would say I would give them a solid B+, because if Alabama, if their defense was in the 30s this year, I think they would have lost a couple more games. They'd already be out of this deal. So, and I've been as critical of Pete Golding as anyone, but I think he's done a solid job.
Right. He has been a lightning rod for criticism ever since he has taken that position, because as soon as Jeremy Pruitt left Tennessee, it was, hey, we got to bring Jeremy Pruitt back to lead the defense. So anyway, all right, throughout the show this morning, 256 655-2143. You can give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and we'll take your opinions and your thoughts and grade Pete Golding's season as defensive coordinator. We did it yesterday with Bill O'Brien, since Bill O'Brien's name was in the news as possible taking over the Virginia Tech position, but we also know that now is not going to happen. All right, one of the fun things that we get to do is just kind of flip topics here, and we're going to do so on the fly. Yep. We're going to pause the college football talk, and like we said, we'll give you plenty of opportunities to call in this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline and grade Pete Golding, and we got plenty of other college football talk to talk about. But all around the Tennessee Valley yesterday and the last few days, it has been another fantastic day. And anytime anybody, any athlete can put their name on a dotted line for a college scholarship of any sort, it was always a monumentous occasion. And we've seen a lot of names, one Drew Blackston, Madison Academy, Trevecca Nazarene, he signed his deal to play basketball there. A lot of big names from around the Tennessee Valley signing those scholarship offers yesterday and over the last couple days.
Yeah, no question about it. And there's some history going on. And Scott, I know you guys were your high school football scoreboard show was huge this year. You guys were on all over the state of Alabama, including in the Shoals area and Florence. And one of the best athletes in the state of Alabama, not just basketball, he's going to be the first Division I basketball signee in the history of Brooks High School. And that's a rich history, as you know, Scott, as you've been in our area since 1999. They've had many football players, the Roach family being one of the more prominent as well, that have signed with the Alabamas of the world. They've had many good football players come out of there. But they're going to have their first Division I basketball signee later today, a little after 12 o'clock, and that will be Newt Wood, outstanding guard for the Brooks Lions, and this year a two-sport athlete making more history as he's one of the leading, not just in the state of Alabama, Scott. I believe he led the state of Alabama in receiving this year with over 1,400 yards for the Brooks Lions, who made more history themselves. They were the first 12-0 start ever before they lost to the current Super 7 participant, the Aniana Redskins, in the football quarterfinals a couple of weeks ago. But he put up over 1,400 receiving yards, just a remarkable young man, and he will sign later today with Tennessee State to make history for Brooks, and he's been good enough to join us before a lifting session this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline because the grind never stops. Newt, you're with Drew DeArmond and Scott Tyson this morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
We're doing great, man. And first of all, congrats on your career. But I've got to ask about the football angle first because I wanted for the listeners to know, was this the first year that you'd played organized football or had you played before, on another level? But when did you decide to kind of, for Brian Black and those guys, to make that jump and try football?
Yes, sir. So I played when I was younger.
Right.
I played when I was in 9th grade.
Gotcha.
But I really didn't play much. And then I played my 11th grade year, at the very end. I joined late through the season, and then I played all this year.
Oh.
Well, how important was it for you to try to step out of that basketball mode, that basketball, lingo, and play football and do two sports?
Right. I think it was big playing football, staying, working out consistently all year, and, just kind of making me tougher for basketball. Having that little tough side, getting down there, being dirty, and I think it's helped me a lot coming up this year in basketball.
And there's no doubt, because the first thing I wonder, I've got to ask you this question, because we know who the football coach at Tennessee State is now, high-profile guy, Eddie George, NFL Hall of Fame running back, a guy that's one of the best, Heisman Trophy winner. Have you talked to anyone on that side? Have they shown any interest in wanting you to play two sports before we get into what I would call your first love and the reason, of course, you're going to make history today and sign with Tennessee State? But has there been any conversation on what you did on the football field and maybe trying both sports on the college level?
No, sir, not really. We've talked about it, with my family, but
right.
Basketball is my love.
Mm-hmm. That's the what the gist I've always gotten, and you'll be playing for Penny Collins over there at Tennessee State. And talk about now making history. I mean, Brooks is a very proud high school, very proud traditions. There for the Lions in every sport they can try to compete at the highest level. But talk about being a Brooks Lion on the hardwood. I know just the other day you're back out on the hardwood. 40 points for you, an unbelievable start to your season. But talk about the decision to decide to sign with Tennessee State and an HBCU.
Right. So Tennessee State, they've been recruiting me since my ninth grade year, very
Nice.
end of ninth grade year.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they just feel like home, shown a lot of love and consistent love, called me almost every day, checked in, and, it's just hard not to go to a school like that, that cares and, just feels like home overall.
Mm.
When you sit back and sign and it's all said and done, Drew alluded to it, you're the first Division I basketball player in Brooks history. And that is an accomplishment because there have been a lot of great athletes that have come through those halls. A lot of great athletes have played basketball. Does that surprise you first that you are the first Division I? And then what does that mean, carrying that torch for others to try to achieve?
Right. Yes, sir. I'm blessed to be in this spot. I've worked really hard to be where I am today. I'm glad to be in this spot too, because I use it more than just sports. Like little kids who look up to me, I try to be a good influence. For this community of Killen, Alabama. I go out every Friday or every game day on basketball. And just try to put on for the community and come out with a win.
No question about it. And talk about your experience at Brooks so far. I mean, you've been a guy that's really, as you said, really been a 4-year starter there. You've been an outstanding point guard. I know Penny Collins and Coach Williamson are very excited to get you as part of the program. Talk about Russ Williamson and the way he recruited you, and then, of course, the relationship you've got with Penny Collins. He's such an enthusiastic guy, high energy. I know he's excited about what he's building over there in Nashville at Tennessee State. I know in just a few days they're going to play against Lenny Acuff and Lipscomb. That's going to be exciting. But talk about those guys, how they recruited you, and the relationship that you were able to build with that staff.
Right. Yes, sir. Coach Russ, tremendous guy. Real caring. Like I said, he was the main dude who recruited me. So stayed in touch all the time. And then Coach Penny, he just made me believe in the process. He's big on deserve to win. And believing in the process, I believe that, we can change something for Tennessee State. Like, why can't somebody like us, why can't we compete for a national championship, beat these high-ranked teams? So I'm just believing that, winning is a process, and I think that at Tennessee State we can do it in the next few years.
That would be amazing. It'd be some history there. And I know you just described yourself in football, Newt, as a gritty competitor, a guy that had 18 touchdowns, receiving 1,400 yards. You led the state and was really one of the leaders in the nation, which is pretty remarkable when this is your first full year of varsity football with the Brooks Lions. Talk about your style, though, what you bring to the basketball court and what you're going to bring to the Tennessee State Tigers.
Right. My decision making on the offensive end is pick and rolls. Just being the it factor. Coming down, playing good defense, and just being the glue to the team, and making everybody around me better, and then just being patient and letting the ball come to me.
Mm-hmm. And then talk about the influence your coaches have had at Brooks. Give your head coach a shout out. I know you guys have been to back-to-back Final Fours, and then also we want to thank the head of the Nike Elite Stars and the on the Nike NYBL circuit, Scott Whittle. He's been on our show many times. A great friend. What is he? And he has NBA experience himself. With the Celtics and the Orlando Magic. Talk about your coaches at Brooks, and then, of course, Scott, Coach Whittle, what kind of influence and help they've had in developing your game.
Right, yeah. So Coach Wright is the head coach at Brooks.
Brian Wright. Mm-hmm.
great guy. Been there for me, believed in me. Coach Merckx is our assistant coach. He's trained me a lot at late nights, opened the gym for me and been real supportive, pushed me hard and coached me hard. And, I'm thankful for both of them. They put a lot of time at Brooks High School. We put a lot of time into this. And it means a lot to all of us. It means a lot to Coach Wright, Coach Merckx. And we're just trying to do something that's never been done this year and, win a state championship. So that's our goal each and every day. And that's what we're trying to accomplish.
No question about it. And now finally, I know you've got a lifting session coming up. I know you've got a lot of work that goes into being good every day. But what parts of your game, Newt, during your senior year do you think you need to work on before you make that transition next year to the Division I level in the OVC and play for Tennessee State?
Right. Probably, just creating better space on my shots, being able to create more space, because, when you go to that next level, they're quicker, they're faster. So being able to get my shot off still clean while being able to make a move, So I think that's my biggest thing that, Coach Scott's been working out with me a lot, helped me on a lot of stuff. So, just we're going to get ready.
No question. And remember, on January the 4th, the Brooks Lions will be at Huntsville High. So we will be able to see him here in our backyard, and you can go see him play, of course, at Brooks in the Shoals. Before you go, Newt, who you guys got the rest of this week? What's next for Brooks basketball?
Right. So we have Rogers High School tomorrow, and then we have Marsville at home.
Nice. So right after signing the scholarship later today, it's going to be a great ceremony out there at Brooks High School. Newt, congratulations on an unbelievable career thus far. What you did on the gridiron was just amazing in helping those guys go to the quarterfinals, make some history, 12-0, finishing 12-1, what numbers you put up. And then on the basketball court, of course, the consistency you've had in your career. Congratulations, and we thank you for taking a few minutes to join us before this great occasion today and before you have to go get your lift in. But we appreciate the time. Thank you for taking a look back, and congratulations on this amazing accomplishment.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you for letting me be on here.
Thank you.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we're going to open up the phone lines to you. I know people are holding. We want to get to your phone calls here as soon as we get back from break.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
One accident, 565 eastbound New Wall, Triana, reported with injuries. Madison Fire and Rescue canceled Himsey on that one. Everything else looking pretty good this morning. You be careful on that ride in. Put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something goes wrong. The YMCA is different from other gyms with state-of-the-art equipment, world-class pools, programs for every age, and free child care. And you pay no joining fee in Madison and Huntsville. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
I'm Chris Haygood at Bob Wallace Appliance.
Hey Dad, if someone gets an appliance for Christmas, how will Santa get it down the chimney?
Magic.
Madeline, part of the magic of the season is our chance to get together again. More often than not, those gatherings will be in the kitchen. Look for holiday savings on the best brands you already know and trust, like Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and Maytag.
Santa's gonna need some help delivering those.
That's what we're here for.
Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman.
Bob Wallace Appliance.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
This is the only place for Drew DeArmond, Wes Neighbors, and of course, Tom Abraham.
I never met him, but I hear that he's a man of character.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And it is time to resume Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. The college football playoff rankings came out last night, the newest edition of the rankings. Georgia remains number 1. Michigan moves up 3 spots to number 2. Alabama 3. Cincinnati 4. Notre Dame is in at 6. Oklahoma State is in 5. Ohio State falls down to number 7, Ole Miss at number 8. So those are some of the rankings for this week. Now, Drew, the committee did say this about Cincinnati, and they managed to work Alabama into the equation.
We talked about him, as compared to, say, Alabama, who ended up one ahead of them. Alabama had some wins against teams that the committee looked at that and decided that they were ahead of Cincinnati. On the other side of that, it was talked about with Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State now has wins against Baylor and against Oklahoma, another rivalry game. The committee was impressed with that. So it's really hard. There was a lot of discussion about it. It's hard to put a proximity closeness between 3, 4, and 5.
So there you go. There was talk between Alabama and Cincinnati on whether to put Alabama 4 or Cincinnati 3.
Yeah, I mean, I know there was some talk of that. I thought that with Alabama's struggles and Auburn's record, that they might have slipped Alabama to 4 and put them above and put Cincinnati there. But I guess they were smart and realized it's a rivalry. It's the SEC. We've talked about the schedule for Cincinnati and the schedule strength. Now, I will say I do think that Georgia's in no matter what. And if Alabama did upset them, Grady picked 30-27 this morning. A game like that, I still say Georgia slips no worse than the 3. I think Cincinnati would be locked into the 4. I don't think Cincinnati is going to move above that. They're not going to go to 2. They're not going to go to 3 unless there's complete chaos. Unless Harbaugh pulls a Harbaugh. and they don't win the Big Ten title.
Right.
I think they're going to. Let's not misunderstand that. I think they're going to beat Iowa, your Hawkeyes.
You have no faith in my black and gold.
Oh, wow, the black and gold have beat him before.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, Harbaugh's got a chance. All you just win and you're in here.
Yep.
I'm gonna pick Michigan, but Cincinnati, and if you're Luke Fickell right now, and your name's in the middle of 2 coaching searches at Oklahoma and at Notre Dame, you control your own destiny. Though you just got to win.
That's true.
Because you're playing a team that's in the rankings in Houston.
Yep.
So
number 24.
it doesn't matter if you win by on the last play of the game, you're going. But again, I think Alabama, if they beat Georgia, they're going to go all the way to number 1. But if they lose, they're out. And then Oklahoma State is the one that needs to win. Now, Notre Dame, who's rudderless right now, I guess, is the best way to put it, which is shocking considering what, that was the biggest shock about the Brian Kelly move. Not so much that he took the job from the standpoint.
That they were in playoff contention.
Yes, that they're in playoff contention because they need help. There's no question about that. But they need Cincinnati to lose and they need Oklahoma State to lose. And that both of those could very easily happen.
Yep.
And they would be in the playoff. And we may have a team in the playoff, Scott, with an interim coach.
Well, we're going to talk about that because the committee talked about that last night. So, but let's get out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Randy's with us this morning. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, fellas. How y'all?
Good, Randy.
Doing good too, Drew. Hey, listen, I agree with you, fella. I don't know about the score, but Alabama will break Georgia's heart.
Okay.
Hey, if you think about it, look at who they played. Alabama's played several ranked teams. All them teams was ranked when they played them.
Right.
How many has Georgia played? Been ranked.
Clemson was the first one that comes to mind, and then Kentucky and Arkansas.
Yeah.
And Florida. Was Florida ranked when they played them in the cocktail party?
Because
it's still early. It was before the Dan Mullen epic collapse. I mean, it was already starting to collapse, but I don't know if...
Well, I wouldn't consider Florida a top 25 team. They were terrible. I mean, I would say Kentucky, Arkansas, the way they played this year, that was a great win for Georgia. Certainly it was. And then Kentucky, the second-place team in the SEC East, got to give them credit. They smoked them. That's really the teams that I would give them credit for playing that were ranked. Florida is not a good team.
All the other
they were not. Chad says they
Chad
were not.
Confirms that.
Yeah,
I didn't think they were,
Chad.
but they were not very good. And it really, I'll be honest with you, Florida was done after the Kentucky loss.
Hey, I told y'all before, Tennessee exposed them in them defense.
Mm-hmm.
You see how they gassed them? They gassed them pretty good.
Right.
There is gate holes there for them. So Alabama will find a way, but they'll beat them. You what? They're going to break their hearts again.
Well, this is, I mean, if you're putting your money on the table, this is the year that Georgia will have the most money put on the table to beat an Alabama team this year. So.
Yeah, the quarterback, Bennett, he's going on the ground again. They'll put him on the ground several times. They're going to get Price, too.
That's what I'm anxious to see the most. Has Stetson Bennett evolved as a quarterback?
Well,
because last year we had a sample size against Alabama, and it was not good. Has he evolved, and can Alabama rattle him like they did last year?
Well, I'll just say this.
They're going to rattle him. They're going to roll him.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. There's only two things that happen. You either get better or you get worse. So I definitely don't think he's worse.
Right.
I definitely think that he's a guy that has gotten better with more experience. He's gotten he was more efficient this year. He has mobility. He can run. There's no doubt about it. He's really been underestimated his whole career. So I'll just say this: just be wary because he's very capable. Just because he's a former walk-on on scholarship now, don't underestimate him. I think he has 21 touchdowns and 5 picks. Just under 2,000 passing yards, but they haven't asked him to reinvent the wheel here, Scott.
No.
JT Daniels has played some, has 700 passing yards. But I'll just say just remember, people don't remember this because it's been over a decade, but the best game that Greg McElroy in his career ever played was against Tim Tebow, and he outplayed him in 2009. And we know how good Tebow was. So I'm just saying, as good as Bryce Young is, excuse me, I was just going to say, I think Stetson Bennett can help them win the game.
Is the Georgia blueprint that they're using with Stetson Bennett, is Kirby Smart dusted off that Greg McElroy blueprint from that season, that championship season, where they haven't relied on Greg McElroy a ton, but when they need him, they can get the most out of him?
Well, I mean, I think Greg saved his best for then. Now, he did suffer cracked ribs in the game, which ended up affecting him for the national championship game later on. But he was nearly flawless in that game. He just executed at such a high level. And if Alabama can't pressure Stetson Bennett, if they don't get him on the ground, like last year they did force him into some mistakes in the second half. I've already told you, they got to force 2 or 3 turnovers. If Stetson Bennett is flawless in this game, what I mean by that is efficient, he doesn't throw picks, doesn't fumble, and doesn't turn it over, it's going to be very difficult for Alabama to win because he's already got a great defense. He's already got an underrated kicking game, punting, place kicking, kick blocking, all that things of those. And then that's what Alabama's got to be ready for too. They have been susceptible to fakes. So Kirby Smart, he may pull a cat out of the bag here. So there you have to be ready for that. But I think as long as Stetson Bennett just stays within himself and doesn't turn the ball over, Georgia's going to be hard to beat.
I think he will pull out some fakes, Drew.
Well, Alabama better be prepared.
Yeah.
All right, Randy, thanks for the call, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's stay on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Wolverine Dan with us. Good morning, Wolverine Dan.
Randy, wow. Alabama shade color glasses. Come on. I mean, all right, let's get something straight here. You know what you need to do is check on head-to-head who Alabama played, the same team like Arkansas. They both played Arkansas. What was the score of both of those games, how the game was played? And then you can gauge if Alabama indeed can beat Georgia. Then we also know Georgia's got a really good defense. Alabama's offensive line is struggling right now, or should I say struggling. And then you add on top of that, your number one running back is hurt, and you're probably not going to play the game. You got to add those factors into the game. I don't know what he's thinking. I think he thinks just because Alabama shows up, they win. There's more to it than that. You know that, Drew. I mean, Alabama's a great program, but it's more than that.
It is. They're not healthy. I think B-Rob will try to play, but I don't know how many snaps he'll be able to give them. That'll mean Trey Sanders is the running back. He's going to have the game of his life, which he's had a couple of good games in his career, but he's never been counted on to carry the load before, and he may very well be. Are you going to use Christian Leary, some speed, a guy maybe that could pop one? I will say this. People have asked me about game plan. The kind of game plan they're going to have to utilize, and Scott, you probably remember this game. This goes all the way back to year one under Nick Saban in 2007 when they faced Tennessee at home, the textbook situation. They came out, they spread the field. Because remember, they played wad ball back then. They were tight formationally. They came out in that game, they spread it, they threw it 3 of every 4 plays, and then they ran a lot of draw plays to Terry Grant, and that's how they created a running game. Now, of course, this Tennessee defense, that was a good one. It wasn't a great one like Georgia's, but that's the similar approach they're going to have to take because they can't just throw it 60 to 65 times because the Georgia defense is too good. They've got to find a way to manufacture a running game, and so we may see that with draws and traps and things of that nature, some quick hitting stuff because and with a guy like Christian Leary who's got some speed, who can hit the hole quickly because, again, like Dan said, Alabama's backfield is not healthy. That's a big part of it. And the offensive line has struggled mightily against pressure. So without Bryce Young in the game, they have no chance at all. And so to me, though, the thing you gauge is, did Bryce throw between 40 and 45 passes? If you start getting in the 50s and the 60s, then Alabama's going to be in trouble because it also means they're behind, I'm sure.
Well, exactly. I mean, I just listened to somebody that is reasonable, okay? And, hey, if I was an Alabama fan, and winning all these championships and always winning, yeah, I expect to win all the time, But the way you broke it down, that makes a lot of sense, just because they show up doesn't mean they win the game. There's so many factors involved. And you see previous games, how they played other same teams, like I just mentioned. And then we talked about Georgia's defense and how Alabama's offense is struggling as far as the offensive line. So there's factors involved in this, okay? I know one thing. It hasn't happened in a long time. There's a possibility that my team could be in the playoffs, which is exciting as all get up right now. So, but we still got a game to play. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be some serious defense on either side. We need to establish that run game like we did with Haskins and Ohio State. That's probably how we're going to win this game. But it's exciting to be in this position. For Alabama, it's ho-hum because they're always in that position because, they have a quality program. And ours has not been as good as your program for a very long time. So it's nice to be at least figured into the equation possibly. Don't you agree?
Well, of course. I mean, we were all surprised that Michigan beat Ohio State, but none of us were disappointed. It just had not happened. I mean, it had been a while. It had been several years since Michigan had a chance, since really the overtime loss several seasons ago, when Jim Harbaugh early in his career should have knocked off Ohio State. But they physically beat them up, and now they've got a golden opportunity against Iowa. If they win, they're in. They'll be in the 2-3 game. I think we understand that. No matter what, because I think, but I think they would much rather, play a Cincinnati. I'm talking about Michigan, than they would rather play Georgia. So it's all about matchups, Dan. But if your Wolverines win and win the Big Ten, and they get in that matchup with Cincinnati, I think Harbaugh has a chance to play Georgia for the national championship. Because yes, I'm going to say that Georgia will beat Oklahoma State if Oklahoma State's the 4 seed.
And this game here it's strength versus strength. Iowa's strength is their run defense.
Their defense, period.
Yeah,
Iowa's defense is really good.
Their defense has carried them this far. And
right.
It's strength on strength. Michigan runs the ball. Iowa wants to stop the run the ball. So, I mean, it's going to be what Big Ten football is about. When you grow up, this is Big Ten football. This is you're going to leave this game being a little black and blue because it's going to be a physical contest.
Well, you're going to get that also in the SEC. You know that. And especially these Georgia and Alabama, it's going to be some serious you're going to see some hellacious confrontations. Yeah. I mean, we'll be hearing a lot of helmets crack, okay? But I'm excited. Look, we haven't been in this position in a long time. I'm very excited. And I understand your previous caller. I'd be excited too if I was Alabama. Okay, I get it. I'm just trying to be realistic. And it's great to hear Drudy break it down because, Drudy, it's all about the numbers. And then, of course, you always got to throw in that factor of just having a really good game, probably the best game of the year at a certain point in time at the end of the season. And if you have that game, any given Sunday could be any given Saturday, Drew, as well as I do. If you play out of your mind, only play it one time, and its game means everything, you're going to win it.
There's no question about that, Dan.
Yeah, thanks for the phone call.
Appreciate you, Dan.
That was Wolverine Dan with us. All right, let's get a break in. I know we got more phone calls. Let's get a break in when we come back. Jeff from the Pearl will get to you, as well as the others. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
One accident, 565 eastbound near Wall Triana, reported with injuries. Madison Fire and Rescue canceled Himsey on that one. Everything else looking pretty good this morning. You be careful on that ride in. Put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something goes wrong. The YMCA is different from other gyms with state-of-the-art equipment, world-class pools, programs for every age, and free child care. And you pay no joining fee in Madison and Huntsville. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat and 3 meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open Monday through Saturday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. Drive-in, drive-through, carry-out, or curbside pickup with delivery coming soon through Grub South. Bubby's Diner, home of the Donut Burger.
Everybody knows the fun begins when you get to the end zone, where you can enjoy half-price apps every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Half-price burgers every Tuesday, plus late-night pizza specials and a spectacular menu that includes jumbo wings, half-pound burgers, Tex-Mex, and an incredible selection of craft beer. And plenty of big-screen TVs. It's all happening at the end zone, 1851 University Drive, 2030 Cecil Ashburn at Jones Valley Station. And coming in early 2022, Mid-City End Zone at 1115 McMurtry next to the Target Shopping Center.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
And welcome back to Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The time is 7:48. And some other news and notes from around the SEC. 2 coaches are going to get a pay raise. One is getting it because of language in his contract. The other is getting it because of results. Kentucky head coach Mark Stoops is not going anywhere anytime soon. He gets a contract extension, Drew. And the interesting part about this is that he gets a year guaranteed to his deal. Mark Stoops can stay at Kentucky as long as he wants.
Yeah.
But if he has a 7-win season, he gets a year added on to his contract. If he gets a 10-year or a 10-win season, 2 years are rolled into his contract.
And he's a bowl victory away from doing that for the second time. And so it's kind of a rollover contract, and he's gotten the program to the point where the deal is slated to go through 2028. But like you said, Scott, 7 wins a year, which he's now doing with regularity. It would just continue to add a year.
Yeah.
If he gets a third 10-win season, which is what would be going into next year. This would be the second one. If he could get a bowl win, then it would continue to add 2 years to his deal. So some very easy to reach incentives for where he's gotten the program. Because we know how he started, but he was having to clean up a huge mess left by Joker Phillips. Now they've established themselves as a winning program. Really, where I would say that a 7-win season would probably be a disappointment. But again, credit to Coach Stoops, credit to those guys. I thought they would have a good year this year. They certainly have. They're 9-3, and they're going to go to a Warren Bowl game, and we'll see if he can get yet another bowl win and a second 10-win season for him during his stay, which is now going to be, I think this is his 8th year about to be completed in Lexington.
All right, the other one is Nick Saban. Because of Lincoln Riley, because of Brian Kelly going to LSU, and those astronomical numbers. Now, we don't know Lincoln Riley's numbers because it's a private institution, okay? What you're seeing is rumored numbers. But in Nick Saban's contract, he has a clause that says he will be paid at least as much as the average total pay of the top 3 SEC coaches or top 5 NCAA coaches, whichever is higher. So because of Lincoln Riley's new deal, Brian Kelly's new deal, Michigan State's head coach, those new numbers there will elevate Nick Saban's salary simply because of those guys cashing in. All right, let's go to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Let's get to Mark from Huntsville first. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, good morning, guys. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes, sir. We got you.
Hey, it's a shame that these coaches that have proven nothing, and I don't mean that to disrespect them, but when I look at championships and a proven record on the field, I don't see a lot of trophies. In high school, they get blue trophies. In college football, you get another kind of trophy, and I just don't see a lot of national championships coming out of Oklahoma or Notre Dame. We've monkey stomped the guy that's going to LSU, and so my point is wonder why Alabama hasn't been a little more proactive, I guess, and instead of using this idea of a formula, giving Coach Saban, not that he needs it, but sending the message that we appreciate you, Coach, because you've delivered. And it just seems to be a little backward.
Well, Mark, I don't know. To be honest with you, I think with that clause in there that says
this is a part of the extension he just agreed to before this past season.
Yeah,
they can't predict the future and know that Brian Kelly's going to sign some huge deal at LSU and that Lincoln Riley's going to cut and run from the SEC because he's soft and go to the Pac-12 where he thinks he can win championships, which he won a few in the Big 12, but the Big 12's soft too.
Yeah, this pretty much says, hey, look, if these other coaches come in and make more than you, we believe it. We're going to reward you.
I completely
instantly.
agree with that, Scott. I mean, they've rewarded Nick Saban time and again, and they just got through building him the Performance Center. I mean, I know for a fact Lincoln Riley could not even get an academic center built at Oklahoma.
What this saves Alabama the hassle of, Mark, though, is having to go back every 2 years and say, okay, we're going to give you more, we're going to give you more. This just triggers it instantly, and them saying, hey, basically we're just going to give you more whenever somebody else does because we're just tired of having to come back all the time and doing it.
Okay, I get that. I just wonder why the clause didn't have Coach Saban will always be $1 greater than any contract in college football.
Well, Bill Russell's the only one that had one of those.
Yeah.
But, anyway, I guess I think Saban is, he's the best. And so, I thought, and that's just my opinion. But let me ask you guys one other thing. I watched that joke of a show last night, the college football playoff. I didn't realize the national hatred of Alabama, but I knew it was there, but I didn't know it was as bad as it is. There was no scenario to put Alabama in other than beating Georgia, which I thought was interesting. But we all know that there'll be a lot of surprises on Saturday. My question for you two: an Alabama loss in overtime to Georgia and with Michigan losing, and the committee has to get down to a Cincinnati team who's undefeated. Does Alabama go to the 4th spot, or are they left out and Cincinnati's in? Because we're not comparing apples and apples. We're comparing apples and watermelons here.
That's if Alabama wins or loses?
No, they lose.
Oh, if Alabama loses, they're out.
Oh, they're out. The way this is unfolded, unless there's just utter chaos where, Oklahoma State loses, Cincinnati loses,
you would need
Michigan loses to Iowa.
Yeah, you would need
there'd have to be some 3 or 4 crazy things happen.
All right, let me ask you this, because Drew, I've always respected your opinion on this, and I think I want to know where your thoughts are. The committee has got it right every time. I really believe that. They've got the best 4 in. There was one year where we were worried that Alabama would be left out and Ohio State would get in. They got it right. They put Alabama in. They won the national championship. The best 4 teams, can you with a straight face say that Cincinnati is one of the top 4 teams in this country?
If they get to this point, if they beat Houston and they're undefeated, yeah, you'd have to say they're one of the best 4, because I think there's going to be a lot of teams with 2 losses. I couldn't say that Alabama is, because simply they're not whole. They don't have their football team. They don't have B-Rob healthy. They don't have Jace McClellan healthy. Now, if Alabama had a healthy running back room, if Alabama, and then see that's a thing that I think some people don't realize, though, is that if they had already lost Jace McClellan, but they really should have. Already, they were, if they were healthy completely offensively, I think they're one of the best 4. But right now, I don't think they are. But they could shock Georgia. I don't know. But I'm just being a realist. I don't think Alabama is one of the best 4 this year, unless they were completely healthy, which they're not.
All right, Mark. Thanks for the phone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. We got to go. Obviously, I don't think we have much time for our next one. Do we got time? Okay, let's get Jeff from the Borough real fast. Good morning, Jeff.
Just real quick.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Just real quick. Stoops is his 9th season. When he starts next year, he'll be the first coach in Kentucky football history to be there 10 years.
That's good.
And I wanted to ask Scott about.
So it is 9. Okay, my bad.
Yeah. Of course, there's a lot of great basketball last night. Scott, why can the SEC Big 12 women's teams? It starts tonight. It goes to Saturday. About 7 or 8 ball games. The SEC Big 12 women's teams are going to do the SEC Big 12 challenge. Why can they do it now and the men's teams wait till January? Just what's your comments on that? A lot of great basketball last night. That's why you do it in November, December, and you don't do it in January. Just what's your comments?
I'm going to hold my ground. I like the SEC I love the SEC Big 12 Challenge in the middle of the season. I don't know why you don't like it. Why? So what if you're playing conference basketball and you play one non-conference game in the middle of the season? It's college basketball. It's not football. Quit thinking it's football and you've got to play your preseason games before your conference games. You don't have to. It's exposure. The SEC needs the exposure when it comes to hoops, and look what it's done. The SEC has elevated its hoop game to the point now where, one of the best top 2, top 3 conferences in all of college basketball. They were not that way when this challenge started. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk college basketball. UAH head coach John Shulman going to join us. Chargers have got a busy week. It's conference play for them.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. Just got a wreck northbound on the Parkway near Golf Road. No report of injury. Westbound 565 near County Lines pulled off to the side of the road. Parkway and Max Luther should be clearing. Madison Boulevard and Zert Road still have blockage. 72 and Ryland Pike reported with an injury. That one's reported on the eastbound side. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Really is going to be a beautiful day across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 60s. We're only going to fall into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight. Plenty of sunshine once again for your Thursday. Temperatures hanging out in the mid and upper 60s once again, but I do think some folks are going to be pushing 70 degrees Thursday afternoon, dropping into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Friday. Temperatures hanging out consistently in the upper 60s and lower 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
NBA tonight, the Hawks on the road against the Pacers. Atlanta 11-10 and getting 1.5 points. The over-under 217.5. The WBC lightweight title up for grabs this Saturday, December 4th. Dustin Haney making his fourth title defense against Joseph Diaz Jr., the current WBC interim lightweight champion. Haney, the -600 favorite, Diaz +375. Dak Prescott, the heavy favorite to be named NFL Comeback Player of the Year, -500. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, a distant second, +500. Carson Wentz and James Conner each have +1400. Prescott's Cowboys, a 5-point favorite against the Saints in New Orleans on Thursday Night Football tomorrow.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, hour 2 of Talking Ball is underway on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, 8:02 on a Wednesday morning. Welcome back to the show. We have had a lot of great conversation this morning in the first hour. We have covered a little bit of everything this morning so far, including some basketball. And that is where we go to now as we talk some UAH basketball. Of course, this interview brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. They are a proud sponsor of UAH basketball. In fact, they are the official training providers for UAH basketball. They invite you to visit their Saturday sports clinic for all those sports-related injuries each Saturday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Visit 4715 Whitesburg Drive. It's the SportsMed Saturday Sports Clinic. And Drew, their head coach, Sean Schulman, tipping it off with us, hour 2.
Yes, he is. It's always great to chat with Coach. Saw him yesterday at Scottsboro High School. His son, JC, good young player in the Huntsville High program. They got a nice JV win over the Wildcats of Scottsboro, who have an outstanding JV squad of their own right. It was a really high-level JV game when you're sitting there watching a lot of young players you're going to see in the future for both of those programs on the varsity level. Going to be two outstanding teams. Scottsboro's varsity, the Scottsboro Wildcats, winning last night over Huntsville with a big fourth quarter. But J.C. Schulman going to be a big part of that program. And John Schulman building an outstanding program at UAH, continuing what the great Lenny Acuff built. They're 7-2 now, 7-game winning streak. And as you talked about, Scott, earlier this week, a big win over Milligan to cap off the homestand. And now conference play starts in the GSC, and you guys will be on the road in a tough place to play in Cleveland, Mississippi. And Coach John Shulman now with us to talk about all that. Coach, welcome back. Congrats on the winning streak thus far, but now conference play starts. I know this is what you guys have been working toward.
Yeah, I mean that's why you come. That's why you come to UAH for these reasons, and to play in this league and to have a chance to win in this league. And we talked about that Monday as soon as the game was over. That now the preseason's over. Every game that we play the rest of the year is a conference game. We have 20 more games to play. They're all huge. They're all meaningful. But we sat here 3 weeks ago talking to you guys after we were 0-2. And thinking that we had a shot to be decent, but not really knowing, and just staying with the process. And we had a really good win. We had a really good win over St. Leo, really good win over Tampa, and then a really good win over Columbus State. And then we played 4 kind of non-Division II schools. I thought we really needed this, looking at our team, to have some momentum and some confidence heading towards conference play. I did not think we'd be 7-2. I'm thrilled being 7-2, but as you follow Saban, compliments kill, and you have to be very concerned about that. And so I have to lower the expectations and the excitement a little bit of our kids to the point that we just got to go back to work and practice. And most of them were in the weight room yesterday and getting shots up on their own, but today will be a very good film day and a very good practice day, and then we head to Cleveland.
So as we head into this first conference game, this team, as you've told us, is young with experience. What have you then learned from this team going forward that will shape the way you play starting Thursday night in conference play?
Well, Chaney Johnson, I'll start with Chaney. We thought Chaney'd be a good player. He's better. He's way more mature than I thought he would be at this moment as a player, not as a person, but as a player. Because he hasn't had, he's had some great games and he's had some tough games, but he's kind of fought through it and he has stayed pretty focused. And so I think Chaney is probably better than we thought. And has done a really good job. Luke Burnett's going to be Luke Burnett. Luke Burnett, if he's open, he's going to shoot it. Some nights he's going to make 10. Some nights he's going to make 5. The majority of the nights he's going to make 3 to 4, and I think we can all live with that. That's nice to have in our back pocket. I think Max has done a good job leading our basketball team, trying to figure out his role on a brand new team. C.J. Williamson has been a huge asset to us and a huge plus to us. And he gives us something different at the 5 spot. You wouldn't think you'd play a 6'4" kid at the 5, but he fits exactly what we want to do there. And so, and he's really, really a competitive kid. And getting Austin Leslie back, I thought really gave us a boost the other night. His athleticism and his size at the wing spot, because we're not huge and really athletic at the 1 and 2. And so I thought he did a really good job. I'm really proud of Costa. I'm really proud of Jack Costa. Costa could have, Austin goes out. We got to move Costa to a 2, and we got our point guards. We got 2 more point guards coming in behind him, and he handled it in a mature way, and he's battled through it, and he's going to play a lot at the point for us. So, like I said, I really like our team. We need Dalton Dodd to come on strong. We need our bench to be there. Everybody's got to. But that was the nice thing, Scott, about our last 4 games is that we got an opportunity to play Daniel Saylor an awful lot. We got an opportunity to play Dane Harding an awful lot. Dane Harding's going to play for us, and we need him to make big shots for us. So we've gotten exactly what we wanted out of preseason. We are a way more experienced team now. We were hoping by January 1 we would not be a bunch of freshmen and we wouldn't be a brand-new team, and hopefully we accelerated that process, and hopefully we're a little bit more experienced now than we were, I guess, a month ago.
And, Coach, how do you feel now about you? I know you've been working on things defensively, some zones, some pressure stuff, some trapping with this group. And as you said, really a brand new team. But the defensive end of the floor is so crucial for this program. You know these guys can score. We've seen them shoot the basketball. Talk about the progress on the defensive end in your mind.
Well, I think we're doing to a point what we've asked our kids to do. We're top 10 in the country. This is a crazy stat, but this is very important to us on fewest fouls per game. So I like defending. I've always liked defending. I've kind of based my career on guarding people. But we're top 10 in the country on fewest fouls per game. So what that means is very simple. I cannot guard a free throw. We cannot ask our team to contest on a free throw. It drives me crazy giving up free throws. So that's the nice thing. So I mean, we have made more free throws than our opponents have shot. So we're doing a really good job of keeping people off the foul line. So that's number one. Number two, we are, I think, a plus 11.5 on the glass. So we're top 15 in the country in rebound margin. So we're doing a really good job on boxing out and a really good job on rebounding the ball. And we've just got to continue. We may give up some threes over a hand, but we've just got to continue doing a really good job on kind of building that wall and not letting people inside our D. We're doing a good job doubling in the post and getting that ball out of there. I'm a little old school. I don't like fouling 3-point shooters. I don't like running people off the line. I don't like giving up layups. I can't sleep at night when that happens. And so we are getting better defensively. Are we there? Absolutely not. Maybe we can be there by March, but playing good D, basketball is a very imperfect game. And so you're always going to have mistakes, and you're always going to have mess-ups here and there, and that's why you just continually work on them. We're going to watch probably 45 minutes of film before we practice. We're not watching a second of Delta in theory, but we're watching all about us. Remember, my concept and my thought process is we're not playing Delta. Delta has to play us. And so we're going to do what we do, and if we can do it better than what they can do, then we're going to be in great shape. I'm not worried about Delta. I'm not worried about Mississippi. I'm not worried about anybody in the conference. I'm worried about UAH.
Yeah, and one of the advantages, coaches, of playing so many games like you have played so far, especially playing them at home against the opponents that you played, you look at the starting five, it looks to be in good shape there, but you really found guys that could come off the bench. You found different rotations. You found different groups that you can use throughout the rest of the season. Found guys that you can mix and match and play with.
Listen, Dalton Dodd and Austin Leslie are starters in most programs, and we get to bring those guys off the bench. And so I've said this before, Scott. 2 years ago, Max had a really good year. Now, I'm his dad, and number one, I wasn't going to start him my first year at UH. But number two, he gave us a huge boost. He led us in scoring, but he came off the bench. Him and Kearney Lane came off the bench that year and gave us unbelievable energy and unbelievable boost. And that's what we expect Dodd to do, and that's what we expect Austin to do. And really, in theory, that's what we expect Coastal to do, and Nyland Thomas. We expect all of them to do that. We demand an awful lot and expect an awful lot. And but I think our kids are having a blast. They're having a blast trying to get better. Like I said, I love where we are, but we cannot be satisfied being 7-2. We can't feel like we've arrived because every game now is a conference game, and every game matters, and you can't put too much importance on one over the other. And this is the grind, and this is what we all signed up for.
Well, and Coach, it's always difficult to play on the road in the GSC. Coach Camara said that, in post game after the win over Milligan, you're going to get the team's best shot. Conference play is always the most difficult because you get a chance to study your opponents thoroughly. I know you're going to be working just on UAH later today, watching film, getting ready. But for the listeners, give us a little bit of an overview, what you've seen thus far from Mississippi College, and then, of course, your next opponent, Delta State.
Well, let me just say that it is in college basketball, not college football, but in college basketball, winning a conference game on the road is like heaven. I mean, it is one of the most difficult things to do out there. Let's go back to last year. Last year it was very strange, and we had to play back-to-back at the same site. We had 4 back-to-backs on the road. The best thing and the biggest accomplishment maybe that I've had coaching, period, is that we went 8-0 on the road last year in 4 of those back-to-backs. And so we won every conference road game last year, which is a compliment to that basketball team that we had last year. Going into this weekend, Delta State is as talented as anybody in our league. Aaron Brooks and Cartwright, and they got a kid, Dietrich. Listen, we beat them 106. I think the score was 106-102 in double overtime last year. And it was the same. They've got the same team. Remember, we're the only team in the league. Don't forget this. We're the only team in the league that lost people. Everybody else had those fourth-year seniors, and all those fourth-year seniors came back for their COVID year. So I looked at our round of 32 game against Lee last year. We won 73-66. We lost 68 of those 73 points. We returned 5 points from that game. Everybody else, Cartwright's been there for 17 years at Delta State. Brooks has been there forever. Dietrich had 33 on us last year, made 11 threes against us last year. They're all back. And so we just can't forget that they're extremely talented. Mississippi College, Brandon Boston, and they got a transfer from Lipscomb, Miles Miller. They're extremely talented, and everybody is old this year. And so we have got to play with a chip on our shoulder, and we've got to continue to do what we do and fight and battle and scrap and play like UAH and the culture that Coach Acuff started, and that's what we're doing. But it ain't going to be easy. There is not one conference game that will be easy, but that's what we signed up for. That's what it makes it fun, and getting into a war on the road at Delta and nasty and everybody's screaming and yelling. But we've also already had that experience at St. Leo, so we've got something to draw upon.
At least the student section urged you guys to play some defense the other night in the last closing seconds of that game, albeit for ulterior motives. But they're catching on to the whole D thing as well.
Well, I got in trouble. My son, as soon as the game was over, JC said, "Dad, you're going to get fired." I was like, "Why am I going to get fired?" He was like, "People wanted the Bojangles biscuit, Dad." That was, so I got in trouble for that one. But I listen, I love what we're doing.
Yeah.
I love what we're doing. We just got to continue to get better. We cannot, once you think you're good, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what sport you're in or probably what business you're in. Once you think you've arrived, that thing's over. And I will be there to remind them every step of the way that we're not even close to being as good as we can be and that we need to be.
Coach, look at the conference real fast. For those that don't know, I mean, you guys are young, but what does the rest of the conference look like this year? Is there a lot of teams out there that are young, or are you guys going to be facing a lot of veteran guys night in and night out?
Everybody's a veteran. Everybody brought back guys. Union brought back their entire team. They got 100% of their scoring back. Lee brought back their entire team. They got 100% of their scoring back. West Georgia is really good. Valdosta was picked to win the league. So I would say that, a Union, a Lee, a Valdosta State, West Georgia is good. But, the nice thing is West Georgia is really good. Columbus State, who we beat the other day, went into West Georgia, and Columbus State won by double figures. And Embry-Riddle, who we played earlier and should have beaten, beat Lee pretty good and beat West Georgia pretty good. So I like where we are. We just got to go perform on the court. But it doesn't matter. You can play anybody. You ask coaches, who's got the best league in the country? The best league in the country is the one that you're playing in. and that's how it works. So every league game's going to be tough, and every conference game is brutal. But that's what, like I said, that's what we signed up for. This is the exciting part. This is the fun part. We're excited to get going.
And we are excited to hear it, and you'll hear it on 97.7 The Zone. You hear both games this weekend on Thursday and then on Saturday as the UAH Chargers take to the road on this swing in Mississippi. First, Delta State and Cleveland, Mississippi, and then Jackson, Mississippi, Mississippi College. Coach, congrats on the winning streak thus far. Good luck to start GSC play. We look forward to hearing Steve Moulton and Scott Theisen on the call. And congratulations to you guys. Outstanding, winning streak going on right now. We're excited about these young guys, and we always appreciate the conversations each week. Thank you.
Guys, I appreciate you guys. Scott, we'll see. I guess on the bus. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll be over there. I'll try to come in there, and you guys are going to do this little practice thing, so we'll get some practice before we take off.
There's nothing better than spending 5 hours with Scott and Steve on a bus. Let me just say that right there. That is a memorable time. Guys, we appreciate you guys. Y'all be good. Take care. Thanks again.
That's UAH head basketball coach John Schulman, and believe me, Steve and I, when we get on that bus, we just kind of sit in our seat. We don't say anything. We don't do anything.
And you're still educated by Coach John Schulman.
We're the perfect passengers on these buses because we just kind of sit back there, and Coach is it's awesome.
Well, and I got to correct something from our earlier conversation because, we cover local angles here, Scott, and we do a great job with these student athletes, and we were congratulating the great young man from Brooks High School on making history and going to the D1 level. But you know me. I'm sitting here thinking Newt Rockney. I'm seeing this name, seeing how it's pronounced. I got to correct it. I was corrected, and I told everybody's name's important to get it right, and it's Canute. It actually is pronounced differently. You look at it, it looks like you're looking at Newt Rockney, like Notre Dame, but Canute, that young man, as we said at noon today, going to sign with Tennessee State, had a great career on the gridiron, a great senior year at Brooks. And he had a great 4-year career for Coach Brian Wright in the Brooks Lions. But Canute making some history later today. Congratulations to him and Brooks. And then congrats to UAH. What a start with a young team, pretty much an entirely new team, Scott. 7-2, 7-game winning streak. And, those games they played, those first 4, I think, are really helping them.
Yes.
And really they have a lot of confidence heading on the road to Delta State and then to Mississippi College. And as Coach said, any game on the road you can win is gold. And so hopefully they can get a couple of wins to kick off GSC play.
Yeah, to translate it for those, it would be like Alabama or Auburn going and playing Kansas, Gonzaga, UConn, and all these great teams ranked high 4 games straight, and then turning around and then getting to play some of these smaller schools to kind of bolster your playing abilities.
Well, one thing I remember last year about Alabama's run to be SEC champions in basketball in the regular season is one of the defining moments at the start of SEC play was when they won at Tennessee. Tennessee was considered a top 10 team at that time.
Yeah. And
then they also dropped bombs on LSU, and they won a outstanding close contest, high scoring at Auburn.
I thought you were going to say it was the SEC Big 12 Challenge. That's what started the run because that's what would have started.
Well, they don't play that till January, as Jeff would say.
But anyway, coming up here in just a little bit, Josh Pate is going to join us, and he's got some interesting thoughts on college football. Your favorite columnist had a thought on college football, and is he too far off base? And that would be Dan Woken. He says that does college football have a problem right now? He says college football has a problem, not do they, has a problem when it comes to coaches leaving the way that Brian Kelly left, the way that Lincoln Riley left for the money, and that when they go to a 12-team playoff, it could get even worse than what we have right now. Does college football have a problem with these college football coaches leaving and the kids, they have the one-time transfer rule, but is this going to
Well, they should have. Here's the deal. They should have never created, to me, if you didn't want this to happen. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying they wanted that early signing period. As soon as you did that, that was going to cause things like this because they need the coaching staffs in place to try to sign as many players early as they can. If you didn't have that, there wouldn't be as much urgency. I think they would wait till after bowl games and things of that nature to do it. But the only real problem we have is Dan Woken covers the sport because he's terrible. It doesn't matter what he says. It's stupid and it's not accurate. Okay? Unlike our next guest, Josh Pate,
well, that's
who's
what I
outstanding
wanted to know because,
for 24/7 Sports.
Josh Pate has an opinion, but, I mean, I wanted to see where Dan Woken's opinion fits into everything. Let's get a break in because Josh Pate can help us set this record straight. Well, got to get his thoughts on Lincoln Riley. Got to get his thoughts on Brian Kelly. Got to get his thoughts on Brian Harsin, the Iron Bowl, Nick Saban, Alabama, Georgia. There's a lot to unpack.
Yep.
Josh Pate will sit down with us next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck on North Parkway now, north of Hollow Road, south of Meridian Street. Left lane's blocked up. That one's reporting injuries. Northbound on the Parkway near Golf Road, no report of injury. Westbound 565 at County Line reported nobody hurt. Madison Boulevard and Zert Road should be clearing. 72 and Ryland Pike had an injury involved, but it should be close to clearing. Snelling has positions in accounting, admin, and medical. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food, from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat-and-three meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. And you can enjoy $50 worth of delicious Bubby's Diner food for half price with this week's Zone Deal. On sale now online at 977ESPN.com.
I'm Chris Haygood at Bob Wallace Appliance.
Hey, Dad, if someone gets an appliance for Christmas, how will Santa get it down the chimney?
Magic.
Madeline, part of the magic of the season is our chance to get together again. More often than not, those gatherings will be in the kitchen. Look for holiday savings on the best brands you already know and trust, like Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and Maytag.
Santa's gonna need some help delivering those.
That's what we're here for.
Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman.
Bob Wallace Appliance.
We love our pets, and when we need boarding or vet services, we want the best. That's why we chose Paradise Pet Resort and Spa. Everything our pets needed, all in one place. Boarding for both dogs and cats. Doggy daycare, grooming and spa services, web cameras, and top-notch vet care, too. It's a true Paradise Pet Resort for your furry friends, serving all of North Alabama. Find out everything you need to know and book services online at ParadisePetResortandSpa.com. Located in Madison, just off 565 at Walt Triana, behind Cracker Barrel.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Two Maids and a Mop. That's all you need to know to clean house. Two Maids and a Mop is an award-winning company, bonded and insured. Hire them for yourself, or they have gift cards if you want to make someone else's day. Find out more online at twomaidshuntsville.com. A maid service worth talking about. Two Maids and a Mop take care of everything. They supply all the cleaning equipment needed. Call 256-883-6243. The only finger you'll need to lift is the one to call them.
Have you ever found exactly the right new car or truck with the exact features that you want and nothing else? Well, at Woody Anderson Ford, we can promise you just that. Hey, Bobby White back again, and you can now factory order your new Ford today, and you'll get your new car or truck exactly the way you want it. And there's no extra cost to custom order. Plus, you get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates. This applies to 2021 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, and Expedition. It's a win-win with a custom order at Woody Anderson Ford. You get the colors, the features, and the options that fit your life. Plus, you get notified when it's built, shipped, and ready to deliver. Listen, buying a new car or truck is likely the second largest investment you'll ever make. So why settle? Get exactly what you want with a custom factory order today. And get $1,000 off MSRP. See how at WoodyAndersonFord.com or at the corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
More intense than a Nick Saban press conference.
You sure you want to ask?
Your home of ESPN Radio. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Can't assume anything. I don't even know what you asked me, but I just wanted to say that.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And welcome back to Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone, 8:30 on the dot. And we've talked a lot of college football because college football keeps providing us storylines. There is no shortage of storylines. And let's get right into our next guest, Drew, because I don't even know where you want to start with our next guest.
Well, he just had an outstanding take on Brian Kelly and why he fits at LSU. He's all over college football because he's a national college football voice now for 24/7 Sports and CBS Sports headquarters. Of course, he knows the SEC backwards and forwards, but really does an outstanding job with his Late Kick podcast and his Late Kick daily show on YouTube, where you can find Josh Pate daily for 24/7 Sports. He does an outstanding job covering the sport of college football, and we always enjoy catching up with him and getting his thoughts. And the coaching carousel is a huge part of this. There's no doubt about it, Scott. But, of course, so is the championship Saturday and the matchups we've got coming up. But, again, the Late Kick podcast and Late Kick Live, those are the daily shows for one of I think one of the best voices now. And what I'm really enjoying is watching his daily treks, because he's all over the country each weekend. He was in the snow in Ann Arbor, Michigan for that game. And we're going to talk to Josh Payton now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Josh, have you thought out, and how is the snow in Michigan?
Yeah, well, I've thought out, but if you'll hear these sniffles, it really, as it turns out, it messes with you a little bit to go from driving snowstorm to 65 and sunny. The immune system was ill-prepared, but it was a great experience. I'd never seen that game in person before.
Wow.
So to choose that one to be the first one that I covered, I was right there in the middle of that crowd when they stormed the field and just kind of temporarily put the professionalism aside, just kind of celebrated, pretended I was a Michigan fan, mainly to stay safe, but also to participate down there for a little while.
Yeah, and that win over Ohio State vaulted Michigan to number 2 in the polls. And then the other big thing that we've had to watch this week is coaching carousel moves. Lincoln Riley started the domino effect by going to USC. Brian Kelly followed it by going to LSU. Obviously, the Brian Kelly move, that more surprising than the Lincoln Riley move?
Yes, because at least Lincoln Riley's name had been floated out there. Now, I didn't know how serious to take the whole Lincoln Riley LSU stuff, but at least his name was out there. Brian Kelly is a name that I remember when the Georgia job came open, before they hired Kirby, I wanted Brian Kelly to get a look. I've always felt like Brian Kelly was an SEC-type head coach who just happened to be at Notre Dame. Like when I would watch him go crazy on the sideline, I would think to myself, that looks like it should be happening somewhere in the South. That should be on the CBS 3:30, 2:30 game, not on NBC at 7:30 against Wake Forest. And so the only reservation I had about whether I was ever going to get to see that is I just felt like maybe once he got to 60 years old, maybe he had just settled in and planted his roots and he wasn't going to be willing to move. And so when you see the headline that, yeah, he is on the move, that one caught me, I guess, a little off guard. I probably had like half a day's heads up, but it was when I got that text, it did catch me a little off guard. But now, having said that, I think people are either ecstatic about it or they think he's not the right fit. That's what I was talking about last night on the show. I just think I may define fit as different than other folks, because I was even talking to some coaches who said, I don't know if he's a good fit down there. Well, let me tell you what my definition of fit is. Fit is basically defining the characteristics that make up your ideal candidate and then going and finding the person who checks most of them. Fit, to me, has nothing to do with a pinpoint on a map. It's not the hometown listed on your birth certificate. It would be great if he was from Louisiana. That's wonderful. But like I said last night, Nick Saban didn't grow up in Bessemer, Alabama, but when he came to Bama, he checked all the boxes. He was the perfect fit for what everyone there wanted Alabama football to be. So whether it's winning on the line of scrimmage, whether it's understanding how to build, and then here's the important word, sustain organizational structure and excellence, Brian Kelly does those things. He does them much better than Ed Orgeron could do, even though Orgeron spoke the language down there. He was fluent in Cajun. He comes from Louisiana, but he wasn't the right long-term fit. So the arguments I've been having over the last 24 hours, they're so surfacey. They're cosmetic. Well, I don't know if Brian Kelly even knows the back roads of this state. I don't know if he can pronounce this word the right way. He can pronounce win, W-I-N. That's what he can pronounce. That's what they need.
There's no question about that. They need some consistency, and I think that's one of the things they brought up with Brian Kelly and what he could bring to LSU. There's no doubt about it. And I think what he did at Notre Dame was a great run, all-time winningest coach ever there, 12 years. 12 years flies by. But now, speaking of fit, it seems as though Lincoln Riley would be a good fit for the style of football he's going to bring to Southern California. Josh, your thoughts?
You would think so, yeah. One of the question marks, maybe not a doubt, but a question mark I have about Lincoln Riley is I've never seen him build. I've never seen him remold an organization from scratch or maybe resurrect anything. Now, that's not to say he can't do it. I am strictly saying I haven't seen him do it. So that's a question mark, not a doubt. But I remember back when I was 10 years old, we would, drive around rural Georgia. You get to that age where eventually you're over in the passenger seat and he says, hey, you want to come over here and drive? Now, to you, when you sit in his lap and you take the steering wheel, you are driving. And you go tell your buddies the following Monday at school, I drove Saturday. What did you losers do? I drove. Well, you didn't really drive. When you get that learner's license, and you get in that car and you have to crank it yourself and you have to put it in gear and you have to get it out on that on-ramp and then you have to merge into traffic on the interstate, that's driving. And so you got to do a lot that at USC will be required that Lincoln Riley was never required to do at Oklahoma. Bob Stoops had that thing running, and he had to get over there and take the wheel. Now, again, I want to preface for a third time, that doesn't mean he can't do it. That's what I'll be watching, because there's a rebuild that has to happen out there. That roster is not remotely close to as talented as people think it is. LSU's is. USC's is not. And so I'm not saying he can't recruit him. I'm saying there is a culture shift and change that has to happen out there. I think what the counter to that would be is as we enter the NIL era, a lot of folks are probably rightfully excited that Lincoln Riley is the perfect poster child for the kind of guy who can harness all the NIL potential at USC.
Josh Pate joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Josh, we've had a lot of people call in this week talking about the salaries that Riley and Kelly are going to get, the incentives that they're going to make. and kind of talking about that direction when it comes to college football. Good or bad, do you think?
I'm kind of indifferent on this, which is weird because I haven't spoken to anyone else who's indifferent. Everybody else is either strongly it's great for them or it's terrible for the game. I don't really see an avenue where it's terrible for the game, only if you don't care about it. I've never really cared about it. Here's where I think it becomes detrimental for the game, but it's not surface-based. I don't care if you make $15 or $50 million to coach my team. Where it becomes damaging for the sport is when people think increase in salary justifies falsely inflated expectation. And the way I've always equated it is like, Drew, if you are capable, let's just pretend here for a second, let's pretend you're capable of a 40-inch vertical jump. And then let's say I go pick you up on my basketball team. And I say, Drew, I've seen you jumping, and I like what you have, but I'm now going to pay you $10 million. Now I need you to go jump 45 inches for me. Well, you would take the money, and you'd probably, just because it's the right thing to say, yes, sir, okay, I'm going to go jump 45 inches for you. Well, you can train all you want to. If your maximum capability is getting 40 inches off the ground, that's all you're ever going to be able to do for me. Now,
Right.
You tell me who the failure is when you go fail to jump 45 inches, and I fire you because of that. Because a lot of times in our world, people look at the coach, and they say he was a failure. Well, maybe he wasn't. Maybe the group of boosters or the athletic director, whoever the case may be, that went and found a guy who was capable of 100% of himself, but they paid him an absorbent amount of money. Therefore, they asked for 130% of himself. Maybe they were the failures. So that's where I think the flawed logic comes in. I don't care what the salary is. I'm all for folks making as much money as they can. I am against the ripple effect it has in the sport when you get in and get out in 3 years because you failed to meet expectations that were totally unrealistic.
Well, I know I can't even put a beer on top of my head. I fell over, so I'm not going to be able to jump 45 inches, of course. But I will say this: what are your thoughts on Notre Dame and Oklahoma in the coaching searches before we delve into a couple of the matchups this weekend? What are your thoughts on where those stand?
I am very curious why Notre Dame's not naming an interim head coach. Marcus Freeman there seems like the slam dunk to be named interim, to be given an opportunity to earn that head coaching job. Now, the best I could come up with from talking to folks yesterday, and maybe this is still the case this morning, is maybe they asked for an assurance from Marcus Freeman that he wasn't going to leave and go to LSU, or he wasn't going to leave and go somewhere else before they gave him that interim tag. And if he wasn't willing to give that to them, then it makes perfect sense why they didn't name him the interim head coach. Because the only thing more embarrassing than your head coach leaving for LSU would be naming an interim and then him also leaving you for LSU. So I get how that wouldn't be a good look. Outside of that, I'm very curious why they would not name an interim head coach there. I also think one of the craziest scenarios in the world that could unfold would be if some dominoes fell this weekend and Notre Dame ended up in the playoff and Marcus Freeman or whoever led them to something that Brian Kelly never led them to, which would be a playoff win. Because to me, if you think about that, that would be one of the wildest stories in the history of college football, especially in the playoff era, I guess. So I don't know how that's going to shake out. I know Luke Fickell seems to be the guy they're waiting on. And as soon as they hire Luke Fickell, Cincinnati's first call would be Marcus Freeman. So it seems like in some shape, form, or fashion, Marcus Freeman's going to get a shot here. Secondly, at Oklahoma, Brent Venables is the name that's dominating the headlines. Brent Venables seems to be the guy that's the overwhelming favorite. They do not seem like they have any interest in some prolonged coaching search out there. They're just making sure they have their ducks in a row. Think about this. 3 or 4 years ago, we were talking, and we were looking at at the time, the current style of Big 12 play. You would have thought we were never going to see another defensive coach hired out there. You would have thought it was going to be offensive guy after offensive guy. Well, sure enough, here we go. We got Dave Aranda coaching in the Big 12 title game Saturday at Baylor, and we have got now Brent Venables. For a program with options, guys, Brent Venables leading the pack as the favorite to land that job. And you know what it perfectly coincides with? It coincides with the style of play that has shifted out there. The Big 12 is not the Big 12 anymore. They score more in the SEC than the Big 12, and that's been the case for a couple of years. So it goes to show you sometimes it's cliched when you say everything is cyclical. But in this case, the style of play in these conferences, it turns out, is somewhat cyclical.
Mm-hmm, no doubt. And then, Josh, your thoughts. I'm assuming you're going to be in Atlanta for the monumental matchup with Alabama and Georgia. We've been anticipating this all year. Alabama, though, as they've had to survive by the skin of their teeth the last month. They're a banged-up football team, but this looks like it's lining up to be Kirby Smart's year, much like it was LSU's in 19. Your thoughts on the matchup coming up on Saturday?
Well, here are my thoughts. First off, to give you an idea of where college football is, we just hit the 15-minute mark of this interview. And we just now started talking about the SEC championship game.
You're right.
That's where we are right now. But I was looking at this. Here's the way I break it down. I picked Georgia to win and cover. So let me preface it with that. And I think the reason that is because I think there are many ways for Georgia to win. I think there are a couple of ways for Alabama to win, which is sort of the inverse of the way we would normally break this matchup down. But I will tell you, as much as I lean Georgia to win, there's one thing that I can't get out of the back of my mind. So I know we're in Huntsville right now, and I know we got a lot of Bama fans listening. So I want to relay to you what someone reached out to me and said, someone who would know. Let me put it that way. He said, I want you to keep this in mind Saturday. There are a lot of edges for Georgia here, and there's a lot of perception that they'll be the more physical team, yada, yada, yada. We've all watched Georgia. We know how good they are, and they're rightfully. Those comments are earned. He said, I want you to keep in mind that when it comes to the pass rush and when it comes to run stopping, Alabama's defense has an edge both ways against Georgia's offensive line. That person told me the Georgia offensive line is a unit that's not being talked about a whole lot, but it is a unit that could be a potential vulnerability that is not perceived as a vulnerability coming into this game. So I thought about it a little more, and that person may be right, because I certainly love 15 and 31's ability off the edge, especially if Georgia's in third and long situations or second and medium situations. And I also love Bama's run defense against anybody in the country right now. So what I'm saying is Georgia can be the better team. I think they solidly have been the better team. But when it comes to matchup against matchup against matchup, that may be some place that if Bama does pull that mild upset, we're looking back on and we're saying, wow, why didn't I think about that a little bit more? So I don't want to be that guy. I'm just putting it out there, and if Georgia wins, I want you to forget everything I said.
No question. I guess my last question as we wrap it up with you, and we appreciate your time as always. I know you're a busy guy. Do you expect any chaos Saturday? Are there any upsets that you're anticipating in these championship games?
I give Baylor a decent shot, even if they have to play that backup quarterback. I give them a decent shot against Oklahoma State. Now, I'll full disclosure you here. That's what our computer model is saying, and that's why I am paying so much attention to that. The other game that I'm looking at is Cincinnati-Houston.
I've been talking about that,
about a 10.5-point spread. And I'll tell you, Clayton Tune, I believe is the kid's name, he is the quarterback there for Houston. If you were to do a blind resume, he compares very favorably with Desmond Ridder, the quarterback there for Cincinnati. He just doesn't get a lot of the national acclaim. And there's an opportunistic nature about Houston's defense that in any given Saturday gives them the risk of allowing 35 or 40, but they also have turnover, takeaway potential. And so on a four-quarter basis, they are a team that could be a problem for Cincinnati. And you don't know how Cincinnati is going to fare breathing this thin air up here because they have never been here. They've never been here. So I'm very curious about those two games. And even though it doesn't have playoff consequences on it necessarily, Oregon got skull-drugged 2 weeks ago by Utah, and that line's sitting at 3. And this computer model I'm looking at actually thinks Oregon's going to win the game. If that happens, I'm very curious to see how it happens because Mario Cristobal needs that one, I think, a little bit more than people realize.
Yeah, that's a great point. And great interview as always. Great information, Josh. Let everybody know how to follow your full coverage the rest of this week and then, of course, going into championship weekend.
Yeah, we'll be all over the place. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday night, 8 Eastern, 7 Central over there on the 24/7 Sports YouTube channel. I'm told, guys, we're doing our show live from Atlanta Thursday night. Of course, we'll be at the game Saturday. And then back in Nashville on Sunday before being in Fort Lauderdale for early signing day. So if anyone has some frequent flyer miles that they want to send my way, and I would be happy to upgrade to first class.
Safe travels, my friend, and I hope you get over the head cold from the snowstorm in Michigan. Always appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks. Josh Pate with us this morning. Let's get a break in. Tomorrow's headlines today when we return.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
So close to home, just 5 miles from downtown Huntsville, Montesano State Park sits on over 2,000 acres with spectacular vistas from atop Montesano Mountain. And right now would be a great time to purchase our zone deal so you can plan your getaway and save money. Get a 2-night stay in a cabin at Montesano State Park for the price of just 1 night, only $140. Get your zone deal before they're gone at 977ESPN.com.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
Everybody knows the fun begins when you get to the end zone, where you can enjoy half-price apps every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, half-price burgers every Tuesday, plus late-night pizza specials and a spectacular menu that includes jumbo wings, half-pound burgers, Tex-Mex, and an incredible selection of craft beer, and plenty of big-screen TVs. It's all happening at the end zone, 1851 University Drive, 2030 Cecil Ashburn at Jones Valley Station, and coming in early 2022, Mid-City End Zone at 1115 McMurtry next to the Target Shopping Center. Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on 2 services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatedwitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
We're beginning to wind it down pretty quick now. Got a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode, and we're still looking at problems on the Parkway northbound near Lily Flag, westbound on 565 at County Line, Madison Boulevard and Zert Road, and 72 eastbound at Ryland Pike should be clearing. You get 3 pieces of the crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, we've got Major League Baseball news. And no, I'm not talking about the Braves signing Freddie Freeman. It's really the biggest headline outside of anything going on with college football. And that is we are about 24 hours away from Major League Baseball being in a lockout. The CBA talks are going on right now in Dallas, but they are nowhere near coming to an agreement. The sides are meeting, but it looks like they are far, far, far apart, and we are headed to a lockout in Major League Baseball a little over about 24 hours from now.
Who, is surprised by this? Bill Shanks mentioned the morons yesterday that run the game. And the baseball can never have a lot of stability just because there's no salary cap. There's always animosity between the two sides. I know they've had a lot of labor peace in effect since the last lockout in '94, and that happened during a season, but I'm sorry. It never lasts. And so I'm not confident in how Major League Baseball is run. By the Commissioner Manfred or any of them. Just like what they did to Atlanta, taking the All-Star game away. That was totally and utterly stupid and one of the most pathetic things that happened the whole year. I was glad the Braves won the World Series and shoved it straight up Manfred's ass because that's what he deserved because he's a prick.
Let's get out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Shane Sean with us this morning. Good morning, Shane Sean. We got you.
You got Brandon here.
Oh,
what's up, Brandon? How you doing, man?
I might morph into Shane Sean and be one of my better tricks. So Spencer Rattler, proclaimed by the media to win the Heisman after he beat Florida in the dummies last year. Everybody that didn't opt out.
Yeah.
We ought to start keeping up with these guys at the beginning of the year, who they say is going to win it. And then play a game called Heisman or Transfer Portal.
Well, they already gave it to C.J. Stroud 2 weeks ago, and then he fell on his face. I know his stats were good against Michigan, but he lost, so forget it.
But we could say that about Bryce Young, though, too, at Texas A&M. He lost.
Yeah, but it's all about timing, too. And Bryce Young has had moments since then that were big time. And Stroud, unfortunately for him, because of when the Ohio State-Michigan game is, and because he has no Big Ten championship game, he doesn't have another opportunity.
True. And I don't know if you have seen this video, but somebody needs to lock out Colin Cowherd from a microphone, and I'm nominating him for Moron of the Year.
Well, you can do that every week.
He is sitting there talking about how network executives are calling him and how excited they are because the L.A. market's going to be viable.
Well, that's all he cares about. That's all he cares about.
That's right. That's all he cares about. And he says, when Texas and USC played, they got a 25 share. Bama gets a 15. And then they wonder why people say that the TV market has influence over the college football playoffs. And he's sitting there saying, LSU, Bama, he's like, you're already third. He's like, you want to work harder? He's like, I don't. I want to work smarter. He's like, you can come to the Pac-12 and play Oregon to get to the playoffs. He is making the case why you should not get an automatic conference bid to the championship game. To the college football playoffs to play for the championship.
Right.
He sits there and makes the case for you, and it's terrible. he is everything that is wrong with college football in the way that it works. And I sent y'all the video clips, the 977 message.
Yeah.
You got to check it out. He hadn't been this happy since him and Joel Klatt were rejoicing when they thought Bama was over.
All I can tell you about Cowherd is he's as soft as the Pac-12.
Well, we talk about ratings. How about this, though? The Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden market. That's Tuscaloosa market, okay? They're
Right.
metered, so we get these numbers right away. The Iron Bowl had a 53 rating. That means 53% of the population was watching the Iron Bowl in the Birmingham market, and a 75 share. The overtime had an 80. That means 80% of the TVs in the Birmingham, Tuscaloosa area were on during the Iron Bowl, on the Iron Bowl.
And we were on a bus watching it for Huntsville High. What a story. Canute Wood, thank you. Thank you, Josh Pate. Really, Grady with a great pick today, sticking with the Tide. We appreciate it. And John Shulman.
All right, guys, we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial